Welcome to the assembly of your Centr Body Weight home gym. Read the entire Centr Body Weight home gym machine user manual before attempting to build or use this machine. The manual contains step-by-step instructions for proper assembly, as well as important safety, machine maintenance, and customer service information. Warning: before beginning any exercise program, consult your physician. This is especially important for individuals over the age of 35 or persons with pre-existing health concerns. Make sure you have at least 67 inches by 67 inches and 95 inches in height of space to place your Body Weight 1. This Centr BW1 Body Weight home gym machine is intended for indoor use only. Rust can form on certain parts in a humid environment, resulting in impaired function. Unpack all parts and hardware parts and lay them out, preferably by step. Use the parts list included in the manual to verify that all parts are accounted for before assembly. If any parts are missing or you have any questions, contact Centr Support for replacement parts through email, by phone, or through chat. It is recommended that 2 people work together to assemble this machine. Most hardware assembly follows a standard through-bolt convention of bolt, washer, parts, washer, nut. Assembly instructions, Step 1. Start by attaching the front foot assembly to the base frame assembly using 2 M10 by 70 bolts, 4 arc washers, and 2 M10 lock nuts. Keep hardware loose until instructed to tighten. Note: this unit utilizes both arc washers and flat washers. Arc washers are washers with a semicircular shape and are used in conjunction with round tubes. Next, attach rear foot assembly to base frame assembly using 2 M10 by 70 bolts, 4 arc washers, and 2 M10 lock nuts. Wrench tighten all bolts now. Step 2. Remove the twist tie holding the 2 step bushings in the weight selector tube and remove the bushings. Attach the slider assembly to the weight selector tube by pulling the pull pin and sliding the slider assembly over the round tube of the weight selector tube. Pay particular attention to the orientation of the pulleys on the slider assembly. Make sure the pull pin on the slider assembly easily pops into the adjustment holes of the weight selector tube. Install 1 M5 by 10 screw into weight selector tube and tighten. Replace the 2 step bushings into the end of the weight selector tube. Attach 2 3.5-inch pulleys and 2 1-inch long barrel spacers to weight selector tube using 2 M10 by 70 bolts, 4 M10 flat washers, and 2 M10 lock nuts. Pay careful attention to which side of the pulley the long barrel spacers are oriented. Wrench tighten bolts now. Step 3. Attach weight selector tube to base frame assembly using 1 M12 by 90 bolt, 2 M12 flat washers, and 1 M12 lock nut. Wrench tighten the bolt connection so there is a slight drag when moving weight selector tube. Do not over-tighten. Step 4. Attach lower arms to base frame assembly using 1 M16 by 230 hex bolt, 2 M16 flat washers, and 1 M16 lock nut. Attach upper arms to base frame assembly using 1 M16 by 230 hex bolt, 2 M16 flat washers, and 1 M16 lock nut. Do not tighten bolts at this time. Step 5. Attach lower main frame to foot plate. Using 3 M10 by 60 hex bolts, 6 M10 flat washers, and 3 M10 lock nuts. Wrench tighten bolts now. Step 6. Attach lower main frame to lower arms using 1 M16 by 230 hex bolt, 2 M16 flat washers, and 1 M16 lock nut. Wrench tighten bolt so there is a slight drag when moving lower main frame. Do not over tighten. Wrench tighten bolts at rear as well. Step 7. Attach upper main frame to lower main frame. Using 4 M10 by 90 button head screws, 8 M10 arc washers, and 4 M10 lock nuts. Note: be aware that the lower main frame will pivot upward with the weight of the upper main frame. Handle with care. Attach upper main frame to left and right upper arms using 1 M16 by 230 hex bolt, 2 M16 flat washers, and 1 M16 lock nut. Wrench tighten bolts so there is a slight drag when moving lower main frame. Do not over tighten. Wrench tighten bolts at rear as well. Step 8. Attach the top beam plates and 1 3.5-inch pulley to upper main frame using 4 M10 by 100 hex bolts, 8 M10 flat washers, 2 1-inch long barrel spacers located on either side of the pulley, and 4 M10 lock nuts. Pay particular attention to the sequence the bolts are inserted here. Insert the bolt with the pulley last. Finger tighten only. Attach the 2 lat bar holders and 1 3.5-inch pulley to top beam plates. Through the set of holes at the very front of the top beam plates with 1 M10 by 115 hex bolt, 2 M10 flat washers, 1 3-inch spacer tube, and 1 M10 lock nut. Then, attach the 3.5-inch pulley through the set of holes second farthest from the front. Attach the 2 lat bar holders with 1 M10 by 100 hex bolt, 2 M10 flat washers, 2 1-inch long barrel spacers, 1 M10 lock nut. Finger tighten bolts only. Do not wrench tighten until after Step 9. Step 9. Attach the press arm mount to the top beam plates using 1 M12 by 100 hex bolt, 2 M12 flat washers, and 1 M12 lock nut. Wrench tighten bolt number 88 so there is a slight drag when moving press arm mounts. Do not over tighten. Attach the pop pin shaft to upper main frame. Thread completely and wrench tighten. Wrench tighten all bolts installed in Step 8. Step 10. Attach press arm to press arm mount using 1 M12 by 160 hex bolt, 2 M12 flat washers, and 1 M12 lock nut. Wrench tighten bolt so there is a slight drag when moving the press arm. Do not over tighten. Step 11. Remove the twist tie holding the bushings to the leg extension assembly. Attach leg extension assembly to lower main frame using 1 M12 by 80 hex bolt, 2 M12 flat washers, and 1 M12 lock nut. Wrench tighten bolt so there is a slight drag when moving leg extension assembly. Do not over tighten. Attach press arm mount cover plate to the press arm mount using 1 M5 by 12 Phillips head screw. Wrench tighten now. Step 12. Attach Backpad tilt frame to upper main frame using 1 roller tube, 2 M6 by 8 set screws, 2 foam rollers, 2 large plastic washers, 2 end caps, 1 M6x75 button head screw, and 1 M6 flathead nut. Pull the pull pin out and engage in the adjustment plate of the Backpad tilt frame. Wrench tighten bolt number 93 so there is a slight drag when moving Backpad tilt frame. Do not over-tighten. Note, tighten the 2 set screws completely after foam rollers are installed and the roller tube is centered. Step 13. Attach seat pad to seat stem using 2 M10x40 hex bolts and 2 M10 flat washers. Be sure to orient the pad so the longer nose of the pad is facing forward. Wrench tighten now. Slide seat stem into lower main frame. Attach back pad to Backpad tilt frame using 2 M10x20 flathead screws. Wrench tighten now. Attach the head pad to the Backpad tilt frame using 4 M10x20 flathead screws. Wrench tighten now. Step 14. Attach 4 foam rollers to leg extension assembly and seat stem using 2 roller tubes and 4 end caps. Step 15. Cable routing. Remove from one end of the cable assembly spring clip, flathead nut, button head bolt, U-bracket, and the plastic ball. You will thread this end through the machine. Begin at the top of the machine and run the cable sequentially from pulley number 1 to pulley number 11, as shown in the above drawing. Once complete, finish the cable end with a plastic ball, U-bracket, flathead nut, button head bolt, and a spring clip. Look back over the cable routing to make sure that the cable is sitting securely in the groove or trough of each pulley. Cable should run smoothly and quietly. Note, wrench tighten U-bracket hardware at both ends of the cable. Step 16. Attach left and right shrouds by first slipping the top of each shroud onto the horns of the upper shroud mount. Make sure seams are to the inside. Next, slide the 2 lower shroud mount rods into the bottom of each shroud and attach to frame using 4 M6x12 button head screws. Note, be sure to pull the shrouds down taut before tightening the 4 screws. Step 17. Attach lat bar to spring clip, which then attaches to U-bracket on the end of the cable that runs through pulley 1. Note, please make sure to store lat bar to the lat bar holders when not in use. Attach chain to spring clip on the end of the cable at pulley 11. Attach revolving curl bar to chain with spring clip. Final adjustments after assembly. Below the seat, you will find the weight selector. Grab the weight selector handle and pull the spring-loaded pin. Slide the weight selector from position 1 to 15. The rollers should move freely. If the weight selector rollers bind between positions 1 to 8, lift the wooden platform and adjust the 2 front rubber bumpers up slightly. This will ease the pressure on the rollers and allow the weight selector mechanism to slide freely. If the weight selector rollers are still binding, loosen nut number 1 in the macro cable adjustment drawing above. Next, adjust nut number 2 counterclockwise until the weight selector rollers move freely. Retighten nut number 1. Note, the cable on this gym will stretch over time. There are 2 places to eliminate cable slack. A large amount of cable slack can be removed by adjusting the pulley upward on the macro cable adjustment. Start by loosening nut shown in the macro cable adjustment drawing above. Next, using a wrench, turn nut clockwise until adequate cable slack has been removed. Finish by tightening nut number 1 back up. To eliminate a small amount of cable slack, adjust the press arm stop counterclockwise. Wrench tighten jam nut. This completes the assembly of your Centr Body Weight home gym. Congratulations! If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on the contact information in your user manual. Also, get the most out of your Centr Body Weight home gym and enhance your wellness experience through your membership in the Centr app. Centr's personalized training and tools, inspired by Chris Hemsworth's team of experts, will fuel your movements, meals, and mind. Meet your team and get started. Start with the included Quick Start Guide.